This video is brought to you by Power Performance Products, where you can get $10 off your purchase of Body Storm and Body Effects.
Spencer Lazara, MMA interviews, alongside Ed Soares. We're here at Black House, and caught him for a few minutes of your time. Obviously, huge news. Anderson Silva is now fighting Stephan Bonnar at UFC 153. Talk about how that came about.
Well, Dana called me to find out if any of the guys could take the fight, I called Anderson, and that's what happened.
How did Bonnar get thrown in as the opponent? What can you tell us about that talk?
I think it was just a matter of who was available and at 205, and we kind of went through a process of elimination. There was only a certain amount of opponents that, number one, were willing to take the fight, and Stephan ended up being the one that it stuck.
Stephan has a pretty good name. I'm sure some of those other guys that were thrown around don't have quite the name that Stephan has.
Yeah, Stephan is a warrior. People could say what they want. Oh, does he deserve to? It's really irrelevant. You're trying to find a solution to a problem, and Stephan Bonnar stepped up and took the fight. And no one can underestimate what Stephan's done. The guy's constantly moving forward. He's not an easy guy to finish, and it's going to be an action-packed fight for sure. And it all worked out. Dana called me, like I said, and asked what guys could come in and maybe try to resolve the situation, and it was, Nogueira stepped up, Anderson stepped up, and that's how it all worked out. So thank God it all worked out.
So you kind of told Dana at the same time both those guys were there. So I heard something to the effect that they were both there, and they both said, yeah, I want to fight. And then you kind of said both these guys, and then they ended up putting both of them on the card as opposed to just one?
Yeah, at first, they asked for Lyoto, Anderson, and then I said, what about Nogueira? Because Nogueira was ready to go, and he said, hey, let's just see who can come back and fight. So then that was the night before. I put phone calls in. It was already 4 hours ahead in Brazil, so I talked to Dana. It was probably around 9:30, 10 o'clock here, so it was probably 2 in the morning there. So I waited till the morning. First thing in the morning, I called down there and tried to put it all together.
That's awesome. What have you heard, if anything, about the buzz in Brazil over the new card?
People at first were really buzzing about, oh man, this card's a disaster. But the UFC always has a way of pulling rabbits out of the hat. And that's what they did again. They were able to put this together and save the event.
What do you think about all the injuries and all the pullouts that are happening? What's your take on that?
Man, it's just the fight business. I'm not sure what's happening. It seems like there's more injuries nowadays than there were before, but I also think that there's more events that are happening. So it may seem like there's more injuries. It's just there's just more events that are happening, and the fighters are getting hurt. It's just part of it's like a little bit of a epidemic right now. But it's just part of the game, and you just got to fight through it. But at the end of the day, it always all works out.
So you don't attribute it to money, maybe the growth of the sport a little more as well, maybe playing a factor in there, and fights having more of a magnitude to them?
What do you mean the money?
Well, maybe fighters are making a little more money, so there's more money on the line also. Also more money on the line when you're going up, fighting injured, and the magnitude of fights is just, there's more at stake.
I don't know about that. People say it could be the money. There's a bunch of different reasons why. But at the end of the day, if a fighter can't fight, he can't fight. And, there's been a lot of fighters that have fought injured. I remember when Anderson fought, who was it? Well, I can remember, when he fought Rich Franklin for the first time, his knee was messed up. And then when he fought, he fought Chael, but he also fought Travis Lutter. He fought Travis Lutter with relatively a week of training because he had double knee surgery in November. Nobody knew about it. He wasn't even able to start training until right before Christmas, and then he was out here filming the countdown show for that Travis Lutter fight. So he really only got about maybe 10 days to train for that fight. So like I said, every fight there's always some sort of story. I doubt that ever a fighter's going into a match being 100%. But sometimes you have to make that decision if it's gonna affect their performance. And you know, and I like I said, we leave that up to the coaches, and we leave that up to the athlete, you know, because each athlete knows how much pain they can hold.
I heard something about Anderson, speaking of him, having one fight left on his contract. Can you speak on that at all?
No, he's got more than one fight left on his contract.
And then, of course, the fight with GSP is something that seems to be coming closer to fruition. But this is the third time that Anderson will be competing at light heavyweight. Right. Does that sort of set a precedence to make more sense, more for the Goa, you know, to come down, make less sense, I should say, to come down to fight GSP?
No, I mean, I still think that's a fight that the fans want to see, and I still think it'll be the biggest fight possible right now. And you know, GSP's got you know, he's got Carlos Condit to get through. So right now, you know, if GSP beats Carlos Condit, then you know that could be a super fight. Who knows, man? Maybe if Carlos Condit wins, maybe Carlos Condit will want to do the fight. Who knows? You know, we just try to take one day at a time. Right now, just focused on the ones that are right in front of us.
Definitely. And then you're the president of RFA, a very fast-growing company, getting a lot of guys from the UFC, a lot of good talent. You got a show coming up. Talk about that.
Yeah, we have a show coming up on November 2nd. It's going to be in Las Vegas at the Texas Station Casino. We got a really good card, and yeah, we're really excited about the things that are happening over the next week. There's going to be some other big announcements that I can't mention yet about the RFA, and it's going to be great, man.
You gotta give us one. Come on.
You know, I can't right now until everything's finalized. But there's some big things happening with the RFA, and we're looking forward to be able to be a new talent pool to breed new talents to be able to move up into the rankings and into the UFC. You know, I think hopefully it'll be another opportunity to give to the sport to have new talents come up and move into the bigger organization.
Yeah, especially having it in Las Vegas as well seems like a great place to have a show pop up.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be moving around with the RFA to, you know, between Nebraska. We'll probably be moving, you know, a couple spots like Kansas City, probably Colorado, Utah, maybe Albuquerque, and who knows, maybe even California. But as of right now, you know, our next show is November 2nd, and then we have one on November 30th. So we have 2 shows scheduled. We potentially might have another show. No, one's in Nebraska and one's in Vegas.
And who is the main event already set for that?
Well, the one for November 2nd, yeah, it's Gilbert Ival against Pedro Pano, Marcio Cruz.
Yeah. Good jiu-jitsu versus striking a little bit there.
Yeah, and then we also have on that card, we're going to have Tyson Griffin versus Efren Escudero.
And I know a guy I'm familiar with, Chidi Njokwani. Climbing the ranks, that guy's something, huh?
Yeah, he definitely is a force to be reckoned with at 170 pounds. I mean, his brother Anthony is doing really well, and his brother now he's fighting at 170 pounds. So he's definitely an exciting and a very explosive fighter.
Yeah, he could be someone maybe you really build in there in the 170-pound division, right?
Oh, well, for sure. I mean, I think, you know, he's a few fights away from still moving up into the big show. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anything else you want to say, Ed?
No, not at all.
All right. I appreciate the time. Ed Soares, I'm Spencer Lazar. You heard it here, MMAinterviews.tv.
Hey there, we're the King of the Cage Ring Girls. Thanks for watching MMAinterviews.tv.